I think it is so crazy that a kid carrying soccer mom looking ass SUV, you can buy, drive 10,000 miles if you maintain it and sell it for the same price that you bought it for a year later. My dad always tells me stories. Oh, back in the day, I bought this 69 Mercury Cougar, or I bought this 72 Chevelle SS Cal Induction for like $1,500. And I'm thinking, man, he's buying cars in the early 90s. Car was made in the late 60s. 20 years later, and these cars that were so cool in the 60s that are cool now, we're selling for dirt cheap, $500 to $1,500. Now I understand there's inflation and whatnot, but that's still super cheap. And you're telling me a 20-year-old SUV, a low mileage example, can sell for 30 grand? That's just bonkers. And I know it's because of the internet. If the internet was not around, this vehicle right here would be dirt cheap. Who would want this? If nobody knew about how reliable the V8 was, if you couldn't watch a million YouTube videos about the UZ platform, and you didn't see these things destroying off-road, these things would be about as cheap as a 2005 Camry from the same year. I mean, it's just crazy. Camrys, I mean, who knows? After this video, Camrys might be 20 grand too, but right now they're pretty cheap for a 2005 model. And those are also very reliable and can be quite luxurious if you get the XLE trim. So in this video, we're going to be talking about everything you need to know about the GX470 before buying one. We'll go through the differences between the years, the differences between the trims, the common problems these cars have, rare parts that will add value to the car you're looking at, and the top 4 rarest colors you could get on the GX470. Usually I say 5, but on this car, all the other colors are common except 4, so we'll just go over the rare ones. So the years to look for a GX470 are 2003 to 2009, and if you look past that, you're looking at the GX460, not the 470, and these don't have the same reputation because of how expensive they are to repair. So the first change came to the GX470 a year after it was out in 2004, and they added a backup camera to the 470s with the navigation package. In 2005, they added the sport version of the GX. Also this year, no matter if you got the sport trim or just the regular, you also got the upgraded version of the 2UZ, and because of this you got a 15% bump in power. And 2005 is also the year that they finally upgraded to Bluetooth, which I know a lot of you will want, since I know a lot of you guys, if this did not come with Bluetooth, would swap in a different radio. Good thing is if you get a 2005 with the navigation package, you don't have to do that, and you can keep the car looking stock. In 2007, they started to include the aux port on the GX, and if you really like entertainment units for your backseat passengers or your kids, they enlarged them to 9 inches starting in 2007. In 2008, they started to change the GX up just a little bit to entice some new buyers to come in and buy it, or maybe even swap their older 470 out for a new one. Now I don't know how many people fell for it because it's not that much, but they just darkened the grille and the wheels, revised the turn signals, and had darker wood trim in the interior. Now for trims, I already talked about this in the years, but I'll just revisit that real quick. You have the base and then you have the sport, and what the sport had over the base was smoked headlamps, graphite colored wheels and trim pieces, black bird's eye maple accents in the interior, and a pretty cool Toyota Connect dynamic suspension system, which pretty much disconnected the sway bars for additional suspension travel when off-roading. And I think it's crazy that the new Bronco that just came out is bragging about their electronic sway bar disconnect when you could get this on a 20-year-old Toyota with a sport package. And although there was no different trim that came with a different, better engine, you do want to look out for the year if you're a horsepower fiend, because some years have more horsepower than the others. If you're getting an early model 470, it comes with that same 2UZ FE that all of them did, but this one made 235 horsepower and 320 pound-feet of torque. When they upgraded the engine in 2005, the 2UZ now made 270 horsepower and 330 pound-feet of torque. And after they did some SAE testing the following year, they revised those numbers to 263 horsepower and 323 pound-feet of torque. And all GX470s came with a 5-speed automatic transmission. Now for common problems, you don't really have to worry about the engine that much, but one of the main things that you want to make sure is not on your GX470 is rust, especially since Toyotas around these years had a big reputation to rust out from the inside. These are body-on-frame vehicles, and because of the design of the Toyota box frame, they were just really susceptible to rust. Toyota even had a class action lawsuit against them about this, and if you're lucky, the GX470 you're looking at could have a newer frame that was replaced by Toyota after the lawsuit. The second biggest thing that you're going to want to look for on these cars is a working air suspension system if it has air suspension on it still. They are just known to go bad, and it's kind of sad because it's like, Why don't you buy a German car? Oh, because all that German junk that's on the car that's gonna break down. It might be nice when the car is new. It might make the vehicle more luxurious for a little bit, but as soon as a German car hits 60,000 miles, things start going bad. That's why you can find a 10-year-old C250 for like 5 grand on the marketplace. And I feel like some of that German junk made it over to the GX470. This air suspension was not needed. They went with normal suspension. It would have been fine. Just make it luxurious. Say like on the LS400, those things rode like Bentleys, but there is no, fanciness going on there. Nothing you need to worry about on those cars. When you're checking out the vehicle, some of the symptoms that the air suspension has gone bad: if the ride is excessively bouncy or excessively stiff. Another one is if it leans to one side or another, or when testing the air suspension, it gets stuck on one single ride height. Now you could also try to fix the air suspension system, but I just do not think it's worth it, especially since it's not like dropping it to the floor and raising it to the sky. It's almost not even noticeable the difference it makes between the settings. Now the next issue you might find is that the drive shaft might clunk when you're stepping on the brakes, and this is because the part of the drive shaft that expands and contracts depending on the height of the vehicle gets low on grease. And you can either repack it with grease, or you can replace it, which would be a $500 fix. It's up to you if you've got the money or not, but it's not too big of an issue. You could use this as a way to bargain down the price a little bit. And the last issue that you're probably going to run into while looking for a GX470 is a cracked dash. These are extremely common in the GX470s, and if it hasn't happened yet, it might happen down the road. So be careful with the dash. Don't put anything on it. Don't even touch it. I would say don't even look at it, just to be safe. And if you go look at a bunch of GX470s and you see no crack dash, and you come back to the comments and what the hell is this guy talking about? This guy's an idiot. Well, that's because Lexus extended their factory warranty and replaced a bunch of these back in the day. I think it was around 2015 when they were doing this. So the dash could only be like 8 years old. But unfortunately, they stopped doing this a while ago. So if you buy a GX470 with a cracked dash, don't expect to pull up to the Lexus dealership and then fix it. At least not for free. I think it's like an $800 fix if you want them to do it for you. And lastly, this is a timing belt car. So just like all my other videos talking about timing belts, make sure it's been replaced in the last 9 years or 90,000 miles. And if it's getting close to that number, say you're 8.5 years and it needs to be replaced in, the next half a year, or you're right about that 90,000 mile mark from the last timing belt change, make sure to incorporate that in the price, or try to find one that just had the timing belt service done. Now for rare parts, about the only rare part on this car is a working air suspension, just because how common they are to fail. Everything else on this car you can still get from the Lexus dealership or the Toyota dealership depending on what parts you need. And also the aftermarket scene for these cars is vast, so you won't have any problem finding any parts you need to upgrade or to maintain the vehicle. Now for rare colors, there are 4 good ones, and most of the non-rare colors are pretty basic, like dark blue, white, silver, black, those type of colors. But the rare ones, they have some pizzazz to them. The first one is called Sand Dollar, and it was an 03 exclusive color. It's almost like white, but it has a little bit of a sandy touch to it, and if most of these are coming in the Blizzard white, it's just nice to look at one that has a little different of a tone. It's like the Blizzard white color with the tan. Everybody loves tans. Everybody looks better with a tan, and so does a GX470. The next 1-year color only is Desert Sage Green Metallic. And this is by far my favorite color on this list because it looks basic, but when you put it in the light, it has that little green sparkle. It's just like a mixture between gray and green, and it's just a damn good looking color. The next 2 colors on this list were available for 2 years only, and this one is called Salsa Red. You really would not expect a red on a luxury vehicle SUV, and so it stands out. It's definitely unique, and if you're looking to off-road this car or build it up, I would probably say this is the color to get just because of how well it stands out from the crowd and other GX470s. And Salsa Red was available from 08 to 09, the last 2 model years of the GX470. And the last color on this list was available from 06 to 07, and this is called Cypress Green Pearl. And this to me looks like a gunmetal type gray with a very light hue of light green in it. And it does look good, but it's just not so noticeable as a sage green. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video on the buyer's guide on the Lexus GX470, the $30,000 SUV from 20 years ago with 50,000 miles on it. If you have any comments or any other suggestions or any tips that I didn't put in this video, make sure to leave them down in the comments below. Like and subscribe and join the Discord where we talk about cars and play video games, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.